it's time to test your skills. This test was requested by Primal Hive tier member Kimmo Pronger. Thank you so much for your support. If you would like to support me by becoming a member, the link is in the description below. Shout out to all the members who are supporting me. You can also help me out by clicking the like and subscribe buttons. Now let's get to the video. Vorazun used to be one of the strongest commanders in the game. She's still really good against head-on mutations and decent against multitask mutations. However, user experience varies between Terran and non-Terran, as well as air and ground. This is mostly due to the long test paths that you must take in order to get DTs or Corsairs. You may use any prestige for the tests, but you're most likely going to use P3 for all of these, and that's perfectly fine. There will be tests for Terran and non-Terran enemies. When fighting Terran, you can beat many mutations easily by abusing their lack of detection. In these tests, the enemy comp must be Terran. There may be some more restrictions later on. When fighting Zerg or Protoss, you have to either fight head-on or snipe their detector. In these tests, the enemy comp must not be Terran. On certain maps, non-Terran may actually be easier. Let's start with the Terran head-on tests. The quiz is Hell Train. This will test your raw strength. No Terran bio, but everything else is fair game. The midterm is Temple of Rebirth. You will have to practice your Dark Pylon walls. You will also need to know the timings of the waves so that you can snipe the detectors in time. No Terran bio again. The final exam is Growing Threat. You can't just charge head-on here. You need good control against exploding hybrids. No Terran bio again because those are just too easy. The dissertation is Memorable Boss. This time Terran bio is okay. The hard part is dealing with heroes from the storm without simply charging in during time stop. Note that this is not an open dissertation. Now let's go on to the multitask tests against Terran. The quiz is of mines and miners. A lot of things will be tested here: mine sweeping, missile command, and dark pylon wall usage. The midterm is Certain Demise. You will need to have good map control as well as map knowledge so you can stop the reanimators in time. The final exam is Radiation Zone. You will need to have a good outbreak defense as well as countermeasures against Black Death. The dissertation is Fear and Lava. The Vorazun expert Majarna said that this mutation is one of the toughest for Vorazun, and for good reason. Even Call of the Void is pretty easy because of the map. This one requires you to have good map control. And now for the non-Terran tests. The head-on quiz is one for all. This time, you must deal with pattern B against an air comp. The midterm is Rubber and Glue. How will you win when there's double-edged? The final exam is Frostbite. Fighting Terran on Dead of Night is actually harder, so this shouldn't be so bad, right? The dissertation is Enter the Nexus. It's kind of hard to match the hero wave timings with time stop, so what will you do when 3+ heroes attack at once? And now for the multitask tests. The quiz is Breath of Destruction. You will need good map knowledge so that you won't be out of position. Enemy comp matters, but since there's aggressive deployment, there won't be any restrictions. The midterm is Infection Detected. DTs are pretty bad against self-destruction, but maybe you can make that work, or you have to find an alternative. The final exam is Doomsday Report. This will definitely test everything from your multitasking to your attention. Lastly, the dissertation is Bad Weather. This one will be an open dissertation. You can play any official Rifts mutation except Timely Reinforcements because there isn't much detection on that map. Dealing with Rifts against a non-Terran comp is surprisingly difficult for Vorazun. Now let's move on to the skill tests. The first skill test will be on Scythe of Amon. There are two things you need to do. One is to get a third gas before 2 minutes 30 seconds. This is something you should always do on this map anyways. The second is to prevent hybrids from spawning after the 12:30 wave. This means that you have to spawn camp all the waves with Corsairs or Void Rays starting from 16 minutes. The next test is a scary one, but not for Vorazun since she has so many crowd control abilities. Win against speed props. You can now choose Aggressive Recruitment Light. Next, on Chain of Ascension, skip the 4th hybrid boss fight. If you did this in Certain Demise, then you don't need to do this one here. Next, defend at least 3 ships on minor evac using a Dark Pylon wall. If you did this in Of Mines and Miners, then you will be exempt from this test. Next, bug out at least 5 trains on Oblivion Express. If you did this in Hell Train, then you don't need to do this one. Next, on Temple, Dark Pylon wall the 3 lanes and keep them alive until the final wave. If you did this in Temple of Rebirth, then you will be exempt from this test. These 4 skill tests are only here because they are essential skills for Vorazun to have, and technically, you can beat the tests without them. The skill tests are here to make sure that you acquire them before you graduate. The last skill test is to full clear temple quickly. Vorazun is pretty good at this. So, Vorazun main, are you up to the challenge? Here's a list of the tests. Cross them off as you complete them. Remember that you can use any prestige. And that's the end of the tests. Like and subscribe if you want more tests for other commanders. Comment your thoughts on the challenges. If you want to submit a test for review, please go to my Discord. People who complete the tests can have their runs listed in my Hall of Fame sheet. Check it out in the description. After you try these tests, why don't you check out some of the previous ones? They'll be appearing on the screen shortly. See you there.